So the obvious first step is to get the Precursor equipment and software over here so that we can make it work with our ship repair fabricators. But then what, Captain?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, that is what we need to do. But I want to go back and see and ask him, wait, what's going on?
A sensible plan, Captain. Let's get to work. Good luck. By the way, Captain, I think we need a name for this new alliance we're going to forge. And since it was your idea, it's only fair that you get the honor of naming it. So, what will it be?
Empire of No. Concordance. Ooh, concordance. I like that word. I like the word concordance.
Very well. From this day forward, we're the Concordance of Alien Nations. Now, Captain, I expect the configuration process for the starbase to take at least 2 weeks, so let's get to work.
Can we go back and ask?
I have good news to report, Captain. We have successfully integrated the Precursor technology from your ship into our fabricator system, and as you can see, we've already begun minor repairs on your ship, patching up some of the micrometeorite holes.
That's very nice of you.
We noticed that your ship does not have an emergency warp escape unit, so our engineers rigged up some for you and each of your escorts. Now, you should be able to escape from a bad situation with the touch of a button. But there is a cost, however. The unit gulps up 5 fuel units each time your Precursor ship uses it. Also, we now have a limited capacity to make modifications to your ship, to refine starship fuel, to build additional combat ships, and to train new members of your crew for the flagship and any ships you acquire for your fleet. Captain, I know you're eager to get to work, so I'll be brief. If you have any questions how this starbase works, what resources we need, or just some background information on the galaxy, don't hesitate to ask.
I need additional background information.
Captain. What do you need to know?
Well, let's start at the beginning.
We can modify your Precursor ship, build additional combat vessels, and supply you with fuel and crew. Our engineers and Precursor specialists agree with the scientists from your world that your starship was designed to be a workhorse vehicle, which can be easily reconfigured for different missions by adding or swapping self-contained equipment packs, which we call modules. The modules we can build right now are thruster units, which make your ship move faster, attitude jets, which allow you to rotate the ship more quickly, crew pods, which provide life support facilities for up to 50 additional crew members, storage bays, which increase your ship's cargo capacity for mineral resources, fuel tanks, which hold an additional 50 units of fuel, dynamos, which feed energy into your combat energy batteries, improving your weapon's rate of fire, and last but not least, ion bolt guns, combat weaponry, the exact function of which depends on its location aboard the ship. When put in the first or front module slot, it fires a single shot forward. When put in the second slot, it fires 2 shots, spread to the left and right of center. When put in the third slot, it fires 2 shots directly, left and right. And when put in the last or rear slot, it fires a single shot straight backwards.
Okay. How do I get enough fuel to actually go about saving the galaxy?
This base is designed to service hierarchy ships. Fortunately, your flagship uses the same stabilized antimatter technology as hierarchy vessels and will be able to synthesize what you need. However, due to the size of your ship, we'll have to produce vast quantities of fuel, which will be a substantial drain on our resources.
Oh yay! I am sitting on a core of explodium.
Our shipyard facilities are sophisticated and fully automated, permitting a handful of starbase personnel to do the same job as 500 vac-suited construction workers.
Nice.
However, the only designs that we had in our computers were incomplete hierarchy ship designs. Things looked grim until one of the officers came forward with an amazing story. Even though the Ur-Quan destroyed every Earthling Cruiser in the fleet nearly 20 years ago, one of my maintenance engineers was a starship production assistant at the Detroit shipyard.
Oh, nice.
When Earth was conquered, she was ordered to destroy all ship construction databases. But she secretly made copies of the blueprint discs and then kept them with her ever since.
Ha ha ha!
These disks contain all the data we need to build as many Earthling Cruisers as you want, provided you, Captain, can supply the large amounts of mineral resources required to build those vessels. In theory, Captain, we could build alien starships here if we had designs for them. However, it's a well-known fact that alien vessels just can't be flown in combat without native starship captains at the helm.
Given the other aliens we've seen so far have been that Ur-Quan drone, which might not have even had the central body, and the arachnid thing. That's probably true.
We have almost 2,000 highly motivated, skilled professionals aboard this starbase, and every single one of them wants a berth aboard your starship. However, each hand we lose to your ship means less manpower here at the starbase, and this is reflected in the crew RU cost. As long as you don't lose too many crew members to combat or planet exploration, the RU cost will remain static. But we have only so many warm bodies on this starbase, and if your needs for crew grow beyond a certain point, the cost could increase dramatically.
Okay, so the more crew you want from the base, the more it will cost to hire them. Notice how I currently have 46 crew. I suspect I lost some while exploring Mercury.
As you know, Captain, we've committed the entire output of this station to building your flagship and your battle fleet into the strongest force possible. However, our resources are very limited, and we feel you must decide how we are to spend our effort and materials. To aid you in making these decisions, we have implemented a resource allocation scheme. We provide you with a numerical assessment of the station's resources and ascribe a cost to each task we can perform and each device we can build.
Okay.
It's up to you to decide how you're going to spend your resource units, or RU as we call them. To acquire more RU, you must bring resources back to the starbase.
Okay.
These resources can be either in the form of mineral ores gathered from planet surfaces,
which is
or
what we got
already
before.
refined metals and other valuable materials from the wreckage of enemy starships.
What kind of resources? Sure,
The
yeah.
most straightforward way you can accumulate resource units is to bring mineral ores back to this starbase. There are probably enough resources in just the nearby dozen stars to build your ship into a powerful battleship, or to create a strong task force of combat vessels. I would also recommend that you build several additional storage bays. When gathering minerals, focus on cleaning out one star system at a time. This way you minimize the cost of travel through hyperspace.
Ah, nice.
While I respect your search for abstract knowledge, frankly, Captain, in our present circumstances, I see little use for such data here. Perhaps you could make use of biological information elsewhere. What else can I tell you?
History.
What aspect of history, Captain?
Yes, tell me about other space
Group of
races.
aliens.
Ah! Okay. The Old Alliance, the Hierarchy, and other. Well, let's start with our allies.
Okay. Which race?
Ah! Ah! That's not even pronounceable. What? This might take a while, because I'm going to listen to these all.
The Shofixti are a race of intelligent marsupials who had been civilized for only a few decades when the war began. They were discovered in the Delta Gorno star system by the Ychat, who adopted and then uplifted the Shofixti, giving them advanced technology and cultural definition.
Alright.
Shofixti are noble and fearless warriors, Captain. In addition, their incredible fecundity and rapid maturation rate kept Alliance rank solid even at the worst part
They
of the
reproduce
war.
fast.
You know, I once flew as an observer aboard one of their ships on routine patrol. We never saw the enemy, but I could never stop thinking about the glory device it had strapped to the bottom of its hull.
Glory. That's imposing.
The Ychat are a race of ancient warrior clans that have been traveling the stars for many centuries. Clans are highly competitive and sometimes even wage war on each other, but the clans are all loyal to the Queen and her royal family, known as the Veepzeeps. The Veepzeeps have been in power for over 2,000 years, and it is said that during their rule, the Ychat never lost a battle.
Except apparently against the Empire here.
I'd like to think I'm not a bigoted person, Captain, especially when it comes to allies, but there's just something about those Arielu that gives me the creeps. One thing I'll say for them, though, they possess some technique for moving really fast through hyperspace. They never let us know what it was, but sure beats the pants off our fastest ships.
That's not a lot of information.
The Chenjesu were leaders of the Alliance, even though they refused to accept formally the title. I don't know if their silicon-based biology is just plain superior to our old carbon models, or if their fantastic intellect were the product of an ancient, peaceful culture. Whatever the reason, I'd rather be taking orders from a Chenjesu than any other life form, absolutely. One of the more amazing things about them was they never used hyperwave communicators. They could send messages naturally, and their natural hyperwave receptors were much more sensitive than even our best units. We didn't really get much of a chance to learn about those mechanical beings, but I'll tell you what I know. They're the product of a distant, unknown culture who sent a giant factory ark into our region of space many centuries ago. The Mother-Ark, that's what the Earth Press called it, turned out millions of robots and finally broke down. I don't know why the Myrna didn't repair the Mother-Ark. Maybe they can't. My personal guess as to why they were sent here is that they're on the leading edge of a colonization project. And once the Myrna obtained enough new worlds, the genuine colonists, whoever they are, will arrive and claim their due.
That'll be interesting.
Most raw recruits saw the Siren as nothing more than warm, breathing pin-ups.
Yeah.
Warm they are, and yes, they do breathe most magnificently, but Captain, they are far more than simple joy units. The history shows the Siren established and maintained a peaceful culture from their Bronze Age through their discovery of starflight. Before their planet was destroyed in a horrible cataclysm, their world was an Eden.
They had starflight in the Bronze Age? What? Or no, in our Bronze Age they had starflight? Or...
What other group of aliens are you interested in?
Yes, let's check out the hierarchy.
Which species?
The Mycon.
The Mycons are hard to get a handle on. In fact, I'm not sure any human has ever had a real conversation with a Mycon. What we know of them, we've learned from their corpses, which, I may add, have a nasty habit of coming back to life when thawed out from a decompression quick freeze.
Ooh.
Mycon ships seem to expend a significant amount of energy on life support. This is probably because the Mycon only thrive in temperatures close to the melting point of lead.
Ew.
As far as we know, the Mycon are the only race to actively seek out the Ur-Quan in order to become combat slaves.
Ugh. That's bad.
Imagine facing a cowardly, mobile clam armed with a howitzer, and you've got a good idea of what it's like dealing with a Spathi.
Yeah.
Although they tend to avoid battles as much as their masters will allow, once in battle, a Spathi eluder is one tough cookie. I once heard a rumor, though I don't like to believe in it myself, that a rogue band of courageous Spathi broke away from the main Starfleet, painted their ships black with bright red stripes, and formed the Black Spathi Squadron, dedicated to performing brave and hostile deeds. Like I said, I'd have to see it to believe it.
Well, given the description of the races, it's pretty obvious which side are the good guys.
It's unfortunate that the Umga fell to the Ur-Quan so early in the war, because I suspect we would have gotten along well with those big blob creatures. At the very least, it would have been entertaining.
Hey.
We know them a bit better than most races because they were eager to talk with our ships before, after, and during battle. The Arielu intimated that they had a relationship with the Umga before the Ur-Quan arrived, but I don't know any details.
Huh. Which ones were the Arielu again? Oh well. The Androsynth. Let me guess, robots.
When I was flying combat missions along the Corward Front, there was nothing we feared more than the Androsynth hit-and-run squadron. Their blazer ships were more than a match for our cruisers, so we stayed clear of Eta Vulpeculae, their home star.
Ooh.
In addition, I think each of us aboard the ship knew deep down in our hearts that the Androsynth had a damn good reason for hating us. Our grandparents had kept them as slaves for nearly 50 years.
Ooh. Ooh. That's why you don't make slave races.
I still have nightmares about those spiders taking me prisoner, using me as one of their 6 sacrifices to Dogar and Kazon, their twin gods of destruction and torment. Those guys were almost as scary as the Androsynth to those of us in Deep Space Patrol. Their Avenger ships could appear out of nowhere and melt a cruiser down to slag in seconds. Luckily for us, the bulk of the Ilrath fleet was thrown against the Chenjesu and the Myrnaherm.
So that's what we fought. Of course, it didn't get a chance to fire a shot at us because we have a super missile. But I know for a fact that A, they are scary looking, and B, they are all the religiously evil.
The starship Par Voyager under the command of Captain Jeffry L encountered the Vux near Beta Mira. Although the details are hazy, it's generally accepted that Rand offended the Vux starship commander with an inadvertent insult.
Huh, not a lot of information about those guys either.
What other group of aliens are you interested in?
That's other.
None that we had made formal contact with.
Oh.
The Chenjesu implied that they had met two other star-faring species, one near the Gickless constellation and the other directly coreward from Procyon. The Arilu once mentioned having some fun with an alien race in Draconis, but like so much else with the Arilu, they never revealed the whole story. I'm sure there are hundreds more alien races in our galaxy, but beyond what I've told you, your guess is as good as mine. Would you like information on any other aspect of history?
Yes, let's hear about this war, which has started this entire fiasco.
What about the war? Earth got involved late in the game in 2112 when the Chenjesu arrived in our solar system for the first time. So let's back up a few years to 2098 when the Chenjesu super-sensitive receivers detected a strange signal from the Ophiuchi constellation. Though even the Chenjesu didn't know it, it was the first sign of the Ur-Quan's arrival. The Ur-Quan, having detected the presence of many sentient species, were beaming out an exulting hunting cry. The first direct evidence of the Ur-Quan's intent was the sudden conquest of the Umga, a solitary though not unfriendly species in the Orionis constellation. The Chenjesu, distraught by the invasion, were further angered when the Ur-Quan turned their fleets on the hostile but weak Ilrath race. A hastily assembled defense force of Myrnaherm and Chenjesu vessels turned the Ur-Quan fleet aside, but the invader moved into Spathi space, rapidly subjugating that race. With each new conquest, the Ur-Quan fleet grew larger as it added slave vessels to its ranks. Earth joined the Chenjesu to form the Alliance of Free Stars at about the same time as the Androsynth stars fell to the Ur-Quan Armada. Before the ink was dry on our agreement with the Chenjesu in 2116, a new race appeared in orbit around the moon and asked for admittance to the Alliance. It was the Arilu Lalile. Timing seemed unusual, and the Arilu were definitely weird, looking like saucer men from Mars, but we were too busy cranking up our mothballed heavy industry that we really didn't pay it much attention at the time.
How'd this go?
At the start of the war, here on Earth, we were working like crazy, churning out hundreds of heavy cruisers and smaller support vehicles. The Ur-Quan were busy too. Unbeknownst to us, they had moved down towards the Luton Star Group and were attacking the Vux, who only the Ychat knew existed. Our botched first contact with the Vux took place in 2119, and it was the biggest single mistake we made during the war. After defeating the Vux, the Ur-Quan fleets ran smack into the combined might of the Ychat and Shofixti, supported by the first wave of our cruisers. Again, the Ur-Quan turned away from the hard spot to attack the weak, though we just thought they were running away. In fact, the Ur-Quan had found another independent alien race, the Mycon, in the Brahi constellation. The Mycon's voluntary submission to the Ur-Quan brought the return of the Ur-Quan fleets, now swollen with 100 devastating Mycon pod ships. The last entrants to the conflict were the Cyrene, a race of space gypsies who had escaped the hierarchy by moving their vast fleet of slow-moving habitats into human space. The side set, the last Ur-Quan offensive began.
Don't stop there.
The Ur-Quan came roaring through Vux space and tried to push past the India and Mira star systems. Their onslaught was barely repulsed, and our counterattack made hardly a dent on the hierarchy forces, but we held the line. The coreward front remained intact.
Yay.
Over the following 10 years, there were many great battles between the combined Alliance Starfleet and the Ur-Quan and their hierarchy of battle thralls. Then in 2134, a dramatic shift in the balance of power took place. This must have been about the time the science research mission was sent to the planet of Vela. Our fleets were pushed back from the Indy-Mira line beyond Raynet. Holding Rigel caused grievously in Chenjesu forces, and the Ur-Quan, recognizing this weakness, shifted to focus the brunt of their forces on Procyon. That was the last we heard from the Chenjesu and the Murnerherm. A few weeks later, waves of ships hit us from all directions. When Ceres Station, our outpost on the asteroid belt, fell to the hierarchy, we knew we were beaten, but we fought on anyway. 3 days later, the Ur-Quan vaporized our last remaining laser forts on the moon, and the dreadnoughts took up geosynchronous position above Rome, Moscow, Beijing, Tokyo, London, Buenos Aires, and Washington. We'd lost the war, and we knew it. But the Ur-Quan decided to make it real clear. And that's why if you check any of our most recent maps, you won't find Buenos Aires.
Well, that's why it's nice to live in the middle of nowhere. Because if the aliens want to conquer the world, they won't nuke you.
After the UN submitted their formal surrender, we were given a week to decide the nature of our servitude. The Ur-Quan demanded that the decision be made through popular vote. When all the votes were tallied, Earth had chosen not to fight for the Ur-Quan. We had become a fallow slave world. We were given a month to withdraw all of our people and equipment to Earth. Anyone or anything left off-planet would be destroyed after the shield went up. Then the Ur-Quan broadcast an odd message. All objects of human construction more than 500 years old were to be abandoned. We didn't know what the Ur-Quan meant until they moved their dreadnoughts into new orbital positions and opened fire on the surface with their fusion weapons. In seconds, large sections of London, Paris, and other European cities were incinerated. At first, we thought they were going to annihilate us after all. And we noticed they were also striking such targets as the Giza Pyramid, the Parthenon in Athens, and Stonehenge. Curiously, the United States was almost untouched. The flaming rain lasted 40 hellish hours.
Yeah, the U.S. is
days
the
after
baby.
we crawled from our smoldering shelters to realize what the Ur-Quan had done. Our new masters had targeted every building, monument, or other man-made construction older than 500 years and destroyed it. In those 2 days, we lost most of the history of mankind.
No!
In some cases, the Ur-Quan destroyed places we did not even suspect were significant. From their positions in orbit, the dreadnoughts blew away a kilometer of land in central Iraq, vaporized several targets in the Amazon rainforest, punched a big hole through the Antarctic ice cap to destroy something deep under the surface, and melted a broad swath of the ocean floor in the southeastern
They blew up Atlantis after it
Then just
sunk!
a couple of days later, the shield went up, and our contact with the outside world stopped. The next time I saw the stars was 8 years ago, when I was transferred up here to be the new commander of this starbase.
Why? Why did they blow up the history? No! No!